know what's in your blood, fellas. You guys are good mom and dad.
My
right?
mom and dad.
Yeah, good somebody. Good to have you. Joe Rogan is a fantastic person. We did for the election, we had over 300 million people. And I said, oh man, I hope Kamala doesn't do it. And she didn't. He wanted her to do it, but she didn't. Someday Joe's going to explain why. I could tell you why. But along with many other, because she didn't want to. Many other veterans. And I just want to thank the people behind me are outstanding. It's an amazing group. The executive order I'm signing, we're actually signing the executive order today, is really a moment. It directs the FDA to expedite their review of certain psychedelics already designated as breakthrough therapy drugs. They're very much being discussed. It's one of the hottest things I think you're talking about, Oz, right? It's nothing. If these turn out to be as good as people are saying, it's going to have a tremendous impact on this countries too. These treatments are currently in the advanced stages of clinical trials to ensure that they're both safe and effective for the American patients. And the nice part is we're actually doing this early, but it has been going on. Research has been going on for quite some time. But usually with things like this, nothing ever happens, no matter how the research ends up. But we're changing that. This order will clear away unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles, improve data sharing among the FDA and the Department of Veterans Affairs, and facilitate fast rescheduling of psychedelic drugs that become FDA approved. And we think many of them will go very quickly. And I have to say the most favored nations pricing that I established, has been knocking the cost of drugs down by 50, 60, 70, 80%. I want to thank you and Bobby for the great job you've done. It's incredible. The press refuses to write about it. I think it's probably as big as what we're talking about today. The drug costs are going down and by the way, Trump RX, which is the way you go to get your very low cost drug. When you think in my first term, for 28 years, drug prices went up, and I got it down 1/4 or 1/8%. I was so proud of myself. It's the only one that in 28 years got them down. And I had a news conference to explain how great I was. The greatest there ever was. I got it down 1/8%. Okay, I was very proud because it only went up for 28 years. It went up. Now I got it down a little bit, and now I got it down 50%, 60%, 70% with these guys. So now I am, But nobody wants to write about it because the people have found out, and they're getting. We're the highest. We were the highest in the world by far. Sometimes would be 10 times higher than other countries. You'd buy a drug, I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. You'd buy it in London, $10 for a pill, let's say, or a pill generally, but actually to be specific, London, $87, New York, $1,300. I said, how can that be possible? How can it be possible? $87. And actually a friend of mine called me up and he said, very rich guy. And he happens to be on this 𝗟𝗶𝘃, I guess, at the time, and it was not working, by the way. The guy was extremely successful, but highly neurotic. Got a lot of problems. I will not mention his name. He's begging me not to mention it because he's become quite famous. He's a big factor here, but he's very smart, very rich guy, very, very successful guy. And he said, "Hey, President," he used to call me Donnie. Now he calls me President, sign of respect. He said, I'm in London. I bought this stuff for $87. In New York, I pay $1,300. What's going on? I said, well, that's the way it is. We pay the highest prices in the world. And it sort of hit me that how ridiculous it is. Made, by the way, he checked it. He had a whole big research done on it because he couldn't believe it. Made in the same factory, same place, everything was the same except the price. And now we are the lowest price. We are tied. In other words, whatever the lowest price in the world is, that's the price we pay. That's a tremendous difference. So we'll be paying, they go up a little bit. So the 87 will go like to 120. We'll go down from 1,300 to 120. So we'll have these massive price cuts, and they've already started. And I think it's one of the biggest things, but unfortunately the press doesn't like to talk about it. but because if I were a Democrat, it would be headlines all over the place. But so I do that. That's why I like live television. Actually, it's great because you can't do any cutting. But we're so honored by that, and that's going to have a huge impact on this also, because the pricing, not only is it important, but the pricing is going good. And you're going to get the rescheduling done, right, please? Will you get the rescheduling done, please? Joe, they're slow walking me on rescheduling. Okay, you're going to get it done, right?
Absolutely.
In 2024 study from Stanford University, 30 special operation veterans with traumatic brain injuries underwent, it's called 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲 treatment. 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲. Remember the name. Is that pronounced relatively properly, would you say?
Yes.
I don't want to get it wrong. 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲, because it's so important, and experienced an 80 to 90% reduction in symptoms of depression and anxiety within 1 month. Have some, please. I'll take it. I'll take whatever it takes. I don't have time to be depressed. You know, if you stay busy enough, maybe that works too. That's what I do. In Texas, Republican leaders committed $50 million to the 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲 research, and today the federal government is making a $50 million research investment in its own, and so that was just approved just last night. We're also opening a pathway for 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲 to be administered to desperately ill persons under the right to try law. That's a law that I started and I got, right to try. Very proud of that. Was done in my first term, and I used to marvel at the fact that people that were terminally ill could not get a drug. They're terminally ill. They're going to die, and the FDA, right, Marty?
That's right.
Jay, the FDA was protecting them from dying, but they're going to die. And so we have these incredible drugs, and they may work and they may not work, but we wouldn't let anybody get them because they were bad for your health. But these are people that were going to die. And it never made sense to me. One of the first things I did early in my term, and it was very tough to get, actually, hard to believe. It was very tough with Congress, but they came through, the Republicans came through. And we have something called Right to Try, and we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. That's if you're terminally ill or very ill, and there is a drug that is not available because it's going through the process of the FDA, and Marty's cut that process down by 50%. We're down, it used to take 12 years, and now we have it down to 5 or 6 years, and it's one of the most important things that you can do. But if you're terminally and there's a new drug that may work or may not work, but it hasn't been approved yet, you sign a document, and you're not going to hold the country liable. You're not going to hold the drug companies or the insurance companies or anybody liable, and you have the right to try. And what it's done, and nobody hated it, the insurance companies hated it, even the doctors, they were all afraid of it because they didn't want to be sued. But I took all of the liability out of it. You sign it, you're not going to sue the doctor, you're not going to sue the hospital, you're not going to sue anybody, including the country. And everybody signs it like immediately. And we have tens of thousands on this, and we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. And what it has done, we never thought of it so much as, but what it has done is, in some cases, these drugs are working so good, it literally cures people that were terminally ill. But it's one of the things I'm most proud. I'm proud of a lot of things we've done, but that's one of the things we're most proud of, Right to Try. But I've always believed in ensuring that the American patients have access to breakthrough treatments and therapies with love for our veterans, and I have real love for our veterans. I was with a group yesterday. It's incredible what they've gone through. And for American patients, today's order will ensure that people suffering from debilitating symptoms might finally have a chance to reclaim their lives and lead a happier life. You know, just lead a happier life. They've been through so much. So I'd like to ask Secretary Kennedy to say a few words, followed by Commissioner McCary, Marcus Luttrell, Joe Rogan, and anybody in the group that would like to speak. You're tremendous people. I know many of you, and you're really highly respected people. And the Luttrell family is well represented, but I don't mind having both Luttrells can say a few words, okay? Great people. And so, Bobby, do you want to start it off, please?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thanks to the leadership of President Trump for making this historic day possible. Under the executive order, HHS will accelerate research, approval, and access to new mental health treatments, including psychedelic therapies such as ibogaine. We're taking this decisive step to confront one of the most urgent public health challenges facing our nation.
तो मजा ही आ गया।
थैंक यू बेटा।
आपा, पर अब ये निहारी की चिकनाई और बदबू निकालना आपके लिए सर का दर्द होगा।
सर का दर्द? नहीं, मेरे पास है विम के सिरके की ताकत। सिरके और लीमू का ताकतवर फॉर्मूला निकाले चिकनाई और चुटकियों में। नया विम डिश वॉश लिक्विड।